That's Sutton Def. I'm simply AS10, and we are 2-1. Welcome back to episode 195 of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you all for coming through to this L Monday. I don't like these Mondays at all. It really doesn't help. I'm kind of under the weather as well, which really sucks, and this weather isn't helping. So it just wasn't that really good of a weekend, unfortunately, and in all aspects. But thank you all for coming through. It is
Yep.
episode 195. So I got
Yep.
the Jerry Johnson episode, the Tavius Robinson episode, the Derek Wolf episode, Zach Sealer, who is doing amazing for the Dolphins, and Rick Lyle, which I'm kind of annoyed because I won. I didn't won. I think I bought a game used Rick Lyle jersey from like the '96 season, and it's somewhere in this house. I should have brought it up here with me. I feel really stupid for it. I'm so sorry. But thank you all for coming through episode 195 of the Purple Rain podcast. We are 5 episodes away from episode 200.
Yes, we
Insanity. Thank you all for your love and support. I cannot appreciate you guys enough. I know Sutton can't either. I don't want to get too sappy here, but thank you all for coming through. As always, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Follow this guy on Instagram, on Twitter at Sutton Def. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. Yeah, I wasn't lying, as my father threw in an old Ravens shirt.
Hey, there it
Yeah.
is.
Shout out, Pops, for throwing in here. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm sidetracked. But how are you doing? How was your weekend, considering what happened?
Man, weekend was going great. Was getting some things done. Really enjoying myself. Friday, Saturday was cool. Was kind of disappointed Colorado lost to Oregon, but kind of had to expect it. But they got trounced. It was bad. It was really bad. But Sunday came around and I was thinking, this is going to be one of those games where, we're keeping some guys out this week because this should be a little bit more smoother sailing. And man, all I have to say to start out this podcast is this. Kenyon Drake.
Oh.
Just the one fumble. Just that one fumble. Like, it just feels like turned the entire tide of the game in favor of the Indianapolis Colts, and they just never looked back. We just can never get back right after that fumble. Like, there was some times where we had some flashes, like we showed that we wanted to hang in the game, but after that fumble, it just seemed like nothing could get back on track how it was supposed to. So I'm just gonna lead with that. But of course, as we always do, before we get into our main topics of the episode, we're gonna go ahead and bring up who's here in the live chat. See my guy Rico in the chat. Says Rain Gang, what's going on, man? Appreciate you for coming through. Darius the Official says, what's good, gang? What's going on, Darius? Appreciate you for rolling through here as well. Let's see. Mod K-Dog says, we shit the bed. And that we did. Overall, just an overall team loss, right? Like, we just got outplayed from the coach to the kicker, like just all the way around. You know what I mean? So it's just, you can't really put the blame on one singular person or position group or whatever, coaching staff, whatever. It was everyone. It was everyone. And I'm honestly more comfortable with a loss like this as opposed to one where, maybe Lamar has a horrible game, or like we're just getting tragically outcoached the entire game, which I didn't think it was the entire game, but we had some weaknesses. But let me shut up. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to the hashtag replay gang as well. If you're not watching this episode live and you're watching after the fact, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. We thank you so much. Make sure you leave a comment down below in the comment section that says hashtag replay gang, because we really do appreciate you guys. We really do. But yeah, with that being said, let me go ahead and bring up a couple more of you guys here on the screen. Dre says, what's up, Purple Rain Game? What's going on, Dre? Appreciate you for coming through. Yeah, make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well, because we got a lot more Ravens content coming your way. But we do have our first super chat donation. This one's coming from Darius the Official, our Purple Rain pioneer himself. He's been with us for a while in the Rain Gang family. Says, at least my 3 of my parlays hit, though. Still mad, though.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to you for that. 3?
Yeah.
It wasn't a pretty day yesterday for me, I'll tell you that. Jags, I I wasn't expecting them to lose to the Texans.
Me
That was
neither.
pretty weird. And then obviously the Ravens. I wasn't expecting them to lose either, but shout out to you.
Cowboys.
3 of them. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I don't even
Insanity,
want to.
right?
Yeah, we'll get into all that. But yeah, thank you for the 199. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes. We do appreciate you making it rain here on episode 195 of the Purple Rain podcast. Okay. And Dre says my parlays never hit. I'm right there with you, Dre.
Same.
I'm right there with you. Yeah. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. But you guys know what time it is. It's time for the review of the game that we just watched. Unfortunately, the Ravens taking the L is not a victory Monday, of course, as we said before. But it's time for the Purple Rain Report, which is brought to you by Manscaped. As you guys can see up here, man, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate here there's not a victory Monday. But let's go ahead and get into the Purple Rain review of what actually happened. You guys can see the stats on the screen. Alex, kind of looking at some of these stats, and I know you've already got some in your head. Like, what really jumps out to you from this game?
Okay. Turnovers, fumbles, sacks. Yeah. Honestly, that right there. The fumbling, I know it was a rainy game, but both teams played in the rain. Conditions didn't, and just going back to you with the Kenyon Drake thing, like I pretty sure I texted you this. I was like, or I texted somebody this. I was like, the fact that we're worried about Melvin Gordon when in reality it was Kenyon Drake who fumbled, kind of is just like a smack yourself in the face moment. I wasn't expecting Kenyon Drake to fumble at all, and against his former team that he was there for a couple of weeks. Yeah, but I'm looking at the sacks. The line really didn't play well. Lamar, he didn't have his best game. I'll tell you that. The ball security definitely is a worry. I know the one fumble, couldn't really do anything about that, but just in general, ball security. We do that like that drill in the training camp, like they like spray water on the ball.
Yeah,
Must not help.
Yeah.
It must not help at all. And
I mean, guys are more so having fun when they're doing that, as opposed to like actually thinking about getting better. I mean, but like I get the purpose of it though.
Yeah. And then my biggest thing too is like I remember like as a kid like being taught to fall on the ball. Kyle Hamilton, I'll talk about him, but when he forced that fumble and trying to scoop and score it, that screwed us out of 3 points. That is 3 points right there. We would have had the ball in their territory. I think 50 seconds left. That one hurts too. Just we honestly beat ourselves more than the Colts beat us, and credit to them for winning. That's what matters. But just beating ourselves, it's just like it's hard to watch. And there was a point where I was like, all right, well, it's not going to go our way. We kind of went away from who we were in overtime. We had the ball 2 times and we couldn't, even get in the field goal range.
Yeah.
With this offense, with this talent, the sky's not falling, by the way. But that was my
sky's definitely not falling. I mean, I agree with you there, but like, and you mentioned it, like we kind of got away from what was working later in that game, in that overtime period. Why were there no Lamar Jackson designed runs? You guys can look on the screen right now. Lamar Jackson had over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. They could not stop Lamar Jackson on the ground. Lamar Jackson has beaten him on the ground on numerous occasions throughout his career. Why did we not go back to that in the overtime period? So it gives me some cause for concern for a Todd Monken, who I'm thinking like, what are you doing in that situation? Mm-hmm. This is the best athlete on the field. This is the best player on the field. Utilize him. Listen, Alex.
Yeah.
In that overtime period, when Devin Duvernay ran back that kick and put us and set us up already in their territory. So all we had to do was just maybe get another first down. So 10 yards, maybe 15 more yards. And it's basically a chip shot for Justin Tucker, who I know kind of struggled yesterday. It was a rain game. We are spoiled with Justin Tucker, but we kind of got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But I just don't understand why we did not dial up a Lamar Jackson design run on that drive. What did you think about that? Did you think that we should have went back to the Lamar runs, or am I crazy for saying
you're not crazy at all? Because you're 100% right. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. And yeah, we gave the ball to Melvin Gordon, but 3.2 yards per carry. Yeah, what, 1 or 2 good runs? What's the rest of that? Yeah, I don't get it. He is your best runner on the field at that point.
Yeah. It's unfortunate to be honest with you, and it's kind of funny because the Colts really adopted the game plan of the Ravens, kind of leaned on us with the run game.
Yeah.
Zach Moss had 30 carries,
Hmm.
30 carries,
Hmm.
so for over 100 yards.
Hmm.
I mean, we literally what was happening was we were making mistakes, and they were saying, "Okay, your offense is going to make mistakes. Okay, then our offense is going to run the football, and we're just going to kind of grind you out." And that's what happened. And oh my goodness, man, it was a frustrating loss. Let me
Oh
just
yeah.
put a bow on it by saying that it was a very frustrating loss, a team loss. There were a couple other things, and I'll get to the officiating in a few minutes. But
Yeah.
also, I want to say Isaiah Likely has got to make that catch. He's got to make that catch. I think it was in overtime. It was like a
Hmm.
third down. And Isaiah Likely, he drops a pass, man. It's just crucial, crucial. You know
In
what I
the
mean?
breadbasket.
In the
Like you're not
breadbasket too.
standing up, you're on your knees, just haul it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had that one good catch, well, his only catch for 20 yards, but he's been underwhelming, I'd say, for the first 3 games, unfortunately. And yeah,
Mhm.
we'll get into more of that, but you got to catch that. That's mm, yeah.
Yeah. We definitely want to bring up some of what you guys are saying here in the chat. We want to bring up you guys' talking points. So make sure you drop all your comments, your concerns, whatever questions you might have about this game in the chat below right now. Now is the
Yeah.
time. Let's see. Yolanda brings up a really good point here. Says too many missed opportunities. We looked sloppy and out of sync. Let me say this. I thought that the Ravens offense, or I know that the Ravens offense is just not playing as a unit right now. They're just not. Like you don't really see that cohesiveness that you would need out of a productive offense. Like it's just not there. Um, let me speak to Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman is not at all involved in this offense, at least nowhere near where he should be. You know, so Alex, let me just let you speak to that really quick. What do you think is going on with Rashad Bateman? Because I see a lot of people in the chat talking about Bateman right now. Some people are saying he's a bust. Some people are saying he's just not being utilized correctly. What are your thoughts on Rashad Bateman in this offensive system?
He's not being utilized at all. It feels like I saw a couple of screenshots where he was open, and it feels like we're trying to force feed Zay Flowers. I'd say 10 targets.
Yeah,
Nelson was 4 targets, all 4 caught. And I'm not, I don't want to say, like I said, sky is not falling. We're just talking about what happened yesterday. What did Bateman have? He's below likely. I can't even see how many targets he had. I would say what, 1 or 2, if that. I
three
know his
targets.
hand 3.
Yeah,
I mean, he has to have more. I don't know if he's in some doghouse or something, but I felt like he had a pretty good start of the season. Was catching what came to his way. Was getting some good yak. Was finding the open spaces of the field. I'm gonna go with utilization. Um, yeah, I just it was just a bad day overall yesterday. That wasn't a Ravens football game, but it was at the same time. So all we can do is just chop it up and move on to the next one, hopefully.
yeah, you're right. And when you look at the Baltimore receivers, so the numbers that we have here on the screen, Rashad Bateman, like I said, 3 targets, only 1 catch for 6 yards. That is unacceptable for a
Mm-hmm.
first round pick. I mean, it's just you've got to get some sort of return on investment, especially considering how this guy's career has panned out so far. He's been hurt a lot of the time. So when he is on the field, draw up plays for him. I mean, because we've
Yep.
seen him be explosive before. We've seen him go off and have kind of all the tools that you need to be a star receiver or at least a very productive receiver. So it is very disappointing to see that we're not really getting Rashad Bateman involved and we're kind of force feeding, like you said, Zay Flowers. I mean, 10 targets for Zay Flowers. I mean, I love Zay Flowers just as much as the next Ravens fan, right? But I also can recognize the fact that we need to spread it out just a little bit more. And
Mm-hmm.
we have more dogs on this offense that need to be utilized and that need to be respected by
Yep.
defenses because the minute we get these guys respected by defenses, that's why I loved the Nelson Aguilar touchdown against the Bengals because I thought that that was going to be foreshadowing of what's to come. You know, more teams kind of paying a little bit more attention to what a Nelson Aguilar is on the field and kind of considering who they need to put on him in terms of DB. But we haven't seen any sort of plays drawn up for Rashad Bateman
Mm-hmm.
yet. So I don't know if it's more of an indictment on Lamar Jackson or Todd Monken as to why he's really not getting the looks and getting the ball, but it is definitely something that needs to come to fruition if this Ravens offense wants to succeed.
Yeah, and I thought Aguilar had another good game yesterday. Right there, 4 targets, 4 catches, caught everything that came his way. Had a first down catch. I think it was like a 3rd and short. Caught it, got some yak. There's that one play where he lost his footing and slipped. Can't do anything about that, but had some pretty crucial, chain movers. So, and then Andrews obviously was doing his thing, but I'd like to see Andrews more involved. I mean, 4 catches, 35 yards for him is what he gets in the quarter, it feels like sometimes. So I would like him to get more involved, but I'm looking at this rushing attack now too. Like if Gus Edwards is out this week, I don't want to say the forbidden year in 2021. That's kind of what we're going back to. A bunch of has-beens at running back. Yeah. Justice Hill not there. Gus not there. Kenyon Drake and Melvin Gordon. So Lamar's gonna have to be the hero again, which sucks.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is he almost was the hero yesterday, which is why I thought it was crazy again that he did not get the opportunity to do that, at least by design, late in that that overtime period, because I mean, man, and you could see it especially when the Ravens were spreading out the defense. When they were going like 5 wide, empty backfield, and just kind of let Lamar just keep it and just run straight through the offensive line or do whatever he needed to do. That was working. And the Colts had a lot of difficulty stopping it. So I don't know. Interesting to say the least, the fact that we went away from that Todd Monken decided to go away from that. But it's still the early stages of this offense, which is something that we have to keep in mind. We also are missing a lot of key pieces, especially on that offensive line too. And I think I tweeted this earlier. We really miss Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley. I thought that we lost that game. The Ravens lost that football game yesterday in the second quarter because there were so many mishaps, especially with fumbling the ball. Lamar had some issues with ball security, but then there was also that muff snap on 3rd and 6, I believe it was, by Sam Mustipher. And that was kind of reminiscent of, what was it, the 2020 or is it 2021 season where we just had snap issues all year? Which one was it? 2020? Yeah, I thought so. So it was very reminiscent of that, and it's something I really hated to see, but so we cannot take for granted what Tyler Linderbaum and especially what Ronnie Stanley does. Now, let me say this. Patrick McCarry did not have a bad game. But we still do need Ronnie Stanley back, especially with these divisional opponents coming up. Browns and Steelers, their pass rush is just nothing to be trifled with. I would feel a lot more comfortable with a Ronnie Stanley out there than a Patrick McCarry. At least, hell, we're getting our return on investment, at least for one thing, if he plays. But yeah, it's just we definitely need those two guys back, and our offense is missing them greatly. So, any words about the offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, McCarry comes in. He's not a starter, but he puts in a pretty damn good shift, I'd say. I trust him anywhere on that line. He'll come in and he'll play average, above average, which I really can't ask for. As for Mustipher, I mean, that's what you get. Again, I mean, the ball is slippery, but that was just a poor snap all around. Thankfully, I mean, nobody got hurt with it like we've seen in previous years with snaps. No, I mean, I think either Linderbaum or Stanley will be healthy for next week. I don't know which one. I think one of them will be coming back. We'll find out, I guess, tomorrow or Wednesday with practice. But we really do, need that healthy linebacker, especially with who's at a running back. Who's back there? Because you're gonna need those holes to open up. So if it's Drake or Gordon, you're gonna need them even more. So yeah.
Yeah.
You can't escape it.
You can't escape it. And it's definitely been getting rough for the Ravens. Let's see. Jeremiah W says here, no team is likely to look good without the top running back, left tackle, center, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, cornerback 1, free safety 1, edge 1 and 2. Too many playmakers are out on this team right now.
Yeah, you look at that top 2 running backs, because Gus was missing in crunch time. So hopefully we can just get healthier. I saw Marcus Williams put on his story, picture of him in a Ravens uniform with, I forget what the caption was, but hopefully he'll be back soon. I thought Geno has played pretty well in his absence. And K-Dog actually just brought something up that I would love to talk about and get your opinion on. He said, Why did number 44 on the Colts get a penalty when he grabbed Lamar's leg after a run? Tried to put him in an ankle lock, it felt like. That was
Yeah, you're
very
right.
unnecessary.
It was. It was one of those unnecessary things. I don't think it necessarily warranted a penalty, to be honest with you. It was just, things I could see if he like tried to twist his leg the other way, but they kind of like rolled with it. Yeah, he held on for just a second too long, but I don't think it necessarily warranted a penalty because what are you gonna call it? Like unnecessary roughness? Was it really unnecessary roughness? I don't think
You know
that
what I
was
was looking.
necessarily a penalty, but what I will say is that some of Lamar's teammates should have gotten involved and should have
That's what I
gotten
was
in
about
that
to
guy's
say.
face. I will 100% back that up
If
for sure.
if Ryan Jensen was on that line, he would have gotten a 15-yard penalty for absolutely clobbering Zaire Franklin on the sideline. 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
wish maybe like the game changed. I don't know these people, but me personally, I want my offensive line to have my quarterbacks back. Like we saw when
Yeah.
Joe Flacco got hit by Kiko Alonso. The first one there was Ryan Jensen and immediately laid him out without even second guessing. Went right after him. Linemen around the
Yeah.
league, you mess with their quarterback, they're coming after you. I want to see our teammates have our quarterbacks back, like that
Yeah, and
just
that's another example of this offense really not looking like a unit yet. You know what I mean? Like they're just really not playing like they are together. And I remember that play that you're referencing that K Dog is referencing here as well. That the guy twisted up Lamar's ankle, and then I see one of the Ravens linemen kind of with his back turned to the whole situation happening, just kind of walking off screen. And I don't know exactly who it was. I think it might have been Zeitler. Not exactly sure, but yeah, just hated to see that. Definitely agree with you when you say, his linemen have to have his back. That has to be a thing. There has to be that trust. Am I right?
I think Stanley, if he was playing, he would have his back. We've seen him before, have Lamar's back. But outside of that, maybe Linderbaum too. But the guys that were playing yesterday, I was kind of expecting Morgan Moses too. Maybe he didn't see it, but
Yeah.
at least somebody have your quarterbacks back because that's just like I said, it may have not warranted a penalty, but it was extracurricular.
Yeah. Let me see. So let's go ahead and talk about the officiating in this
Oh,
game. So lots of controversy, lots of talk on whether or not, especially the most highlighted one was the missed pass interference call late in the game in overtime against Zay Flowers, where he kind of gets hooked by the linebacker and there was just no call. So Alex, Rain Gang, Replay Gang, whoever's
yeah.
watching, I know all you guys saw this play, right? So, what did you think, Alex, about this one? Did you think it was a penalty, or did you think that it was a good no call?
I thought it was a penalty. At the same time, that doesn't, you know, it didn't. You could say it lost us the game, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna stand by my statement that we lost the game. We shot ourselves in the foot. We pulled a Plaxico Burris. We were our own worst enemy. Uh, Unfortunately, you shouldn't have games come down to the refs. That's what I'll say. And if you do, you probably don't deserve to win it. I was as
Yeah.
mad as everybody else was, but sleeping on it, you can't let it get. I'm more pissed off about the fair catch that our coaches didn't know what the clock was. They said the clock was 1:58 and it goes to 2:03 or 2:01.
Yeah.
I want our coaches that aren't playing the game to have more awareness. That's
But
what I'm
I would
worried
love
about.
to know why that happened though. Speaking on that specific situation, like why did the clock go from 150 whatever it was back up to 203? Because that's pretty damn significant to
Yeah,
not, really let everybody know that that's happening, because normally the
yep,
official will come on screen or come on the field and say like, please reset the game clock to, such and
yep,
such because this happened, but that never happened. It just happened,
yep.
you know. And then Zay Flowers could have taken 40 extra seconds off the clock. That didn't end up happening, and we know what else happened too. But I'm sorry, I kind of got you off track
You're
there.
good.
My
You're
bad.
good. Honestly, what I'm more upset about was the missed face mask. I know that we had a
Yeah,
holding. I know
yeah,
we had a holding on that play, which they cancel. They offset each other. We have another shot on the third down to maybe ice the game. That I'm maybe more mad about that because let's say we get that PI, the drive could have stalled. It's woulda, coulda, shoulda. But
yeah.
I just thought that face mask was a lot more obvious than the PI. I thought they're both obvious, honestly, but I guess they're gonna let them play. But yeah, we should have won the game even without it. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that
And
lost the game.
I'll say I actually don't think that the pass interference call that should have been on Zay Flowers. I don't think that it was a bad no call. I thought it was actually a pretty good no call, to be honest with you, because it was one of those things where it was so close, heat of the moment. Like you said, they're going to let the boys play. Um, I feel like if they would have called it, it would have been a little weak. And it would have really felt like us getting bailed out, to which, we really didn't deserve to get bailed out, So I really can't be mad that it didn't happen. And for a play like that I would not deem that quote unquote foul. I wouldn't deem it egregious. And since I don't deem it egregious, I don't think that, the ref necessarily should have thrown the flag. I thought it was a pretty good no call, but definitely missing the face mask, unacceptable. That can't happen. But yeah, it definitely was unfortunate. Yeah, go ahead.
I think what swayed my mind was not when I heard the announcers kind of like saying like, "Oh, he's holding him." Like when the announcer said, I was like, "All right, well maybe it was that bad," but in real time it is bang bang. But at the same
Yeah,
time, I think about it. Even last year, like that Bills game, they caught some like really soft PIs on Brandon Stevens, soft calls. Like it depends with the refs too.
right.
I guess
It
they're
can go
gonna
either way. It can go
play.
either way. Like
There's
remember last week with Odell pulling the guy down,
yeah, there's
you
just no
know?
continuity with referees in the NFL, and that's my
Right.
problem. Like
Yeah, let's talk about it.
and it's just honest referees in all sports. I was watching a soccer game yesterday, and the ball hits a player in his hand right in front of the goal, and they take 5 minutes to review it when it's right there. Like, how many angles do you have to watch?
Right.
Even MLB umpires, like, there's times where it's literally a strike and they don't call it. I mean, some of these refs I think have egos bigger than themselves. One of them,
Mhm.
thankfully, he's gone, was Hockley, like the big strong one. Like, they don't, they can make a mistake and they're back the next week in the
Yeah.
NFL. I know in soccer, if there's one that made an awful mistake, he got fired. In the NFL, it's like they're going to have that job security. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
just you don't know what you're going to get game by game.
Yeah, I mean, and K-Dog bringing up here that Gene Steratore said that was the pass interference. Yeah, it really does suck that there is no accountability when it comes to officiating, especially specifically in the NFL is what I'm speaking for. And it does annoy me that I see every week that players are getting fined for these ticky tacky hits on guys, like for tens of thousands of dollars, right? But then you hear like you see these officials miss calls, like just blatant misses, and like there's just no way to hold them accountable like at all. Like it's just they just go home like nothing ever happened, and that's pretty irritating to see, because it really does impact the integrity of the game, and I don't think that it doesn't bode well for the future of it, for just the overall, like I said, integrity of the sport of football, because you want to see them get things right. I don't care how long it takes. There's so much technology in the game now. You can get the angles from every single camera in the stadium. Get the call right, so that way we get the actual correct outcome of the game. Put the best product on the field.
Yeah,
That's just me.
yeah,
That's just me.
yeah. I mean, when you're finding players for celebrations, that's my biggest thing. And then the NFL will post them on social media to gain interaction to spread the
Yeah,
sport, but they'll fine them 30,000. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown can't even do 3 pumps. It's a flag. Jamal Williams would do his celebration and get flagged, but guess what? It's on the NFL Instagram. Best believe that celebration is right there. But like I said with the refs, they'll next week nothing will happen. And I put a tweet out. I was like, "We're just the AFC version of the Saints." I feel like the Saints are they're the team that always gets just hosed by the referees. I'll never forget the 2018 NFC Championship. Can you imagine? Actually, I don't want to imagine that, but like as a Saints fan, like that was how much more blatant can a PI get? And they didn't even
yeah,
fix that.
right. Just sometimes it really does make you wonder, like, what's going on here for
Right.
real. Let's go
And,
ahead and bring up go ahead. My bad.
and when you could challenge PIs, they would never get overturned. That was
Mm,
useless. Like they didn't. I don't think they went through the proper steps on what it takes to challenge a pass interference because there were some blatant ones. Well, there wasn't enough evidence. How is there not enough evidence when you have a video and the ball is not there and there's contact that disrupts the receiver? That's PI.
yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely. Let's bring up a comment here from King95. What's going on, King? Appreciate you for
Okay.
coming through. Says, what about not giving Justin Tucker another chance? So obviously, Justin Tucker missed that, what was it, 62-yarder for the
Yeah.
win. And then we did not put him back out there for what would have been another, I believe, 60-yarder, 60+ yarder. What did you think about that?
He's the best damn kicker of all time. I wanted him back out there personally, but
Yeah, give him another
I
shot, right? He's earned it, right?
right. This isn't Kyer Vedvik out there. Like, this is Justin Tucker, who, think about it, from 2015 to 2017 won us how many games with his leg? Give him a shot. And we're
Yeah,
going the opposite way too. Yeah, we're going the opposite way, I believe. So I don't know what the win was looking like, but let him kick it. He's probably even more amped up. He'll probably make it, but he's
yeah.
the best kick. He's won us how many games? Let him do it.
Yeah, it's been time and time again that Justin Tucker has won us football games. So I would have, I agree with you. I personally would have liked to see Justin Tucker get another shot at it. Like you said, he probably would have been even more amped up to hit that second one, especially after coming up short the first one, because it was
Yeah.
on target. The first one, it
Yep.
was on target, just came up a few yards short. So I think that second one, he would have really dug his feet into the ground and
Yep.
really drove that one home. I do believe that, but I'm not mad at the call to not go that way, not go that direction. It just didn't end up working out. Just didn't end up
Yeah.
working out, you
I'm
know.
just more mad about Lamar not having a run, honestly. Or
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what that just behooves me at that point. A
yeah.
lot of things in that game.
Let's see what you guys are saying here, reviewing the game. Yolanda says, as a team, we need to be in a position to put games away with or without the assistance of the referees. Absolutely right there,
That's what
100%.
good teams do. That's what
Yeah,
that's what great teams do. And right now, I think we're a good team. When we get people back, we'll be a great team. That's why I said the sky's not falling. There's still so much talent that hasn't played yet or was out yesterday. I'm not going to let this game, dictate how I feel for the rest of the season. So, bigger
yeah.
games ahead.
Bigger games ahead. And speaking of bigger games ahead, Browns and Steelers on the horizon, both on the road. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough stretch, especially considering what we have right now on our health report, or aka the I word report. It's going to be tough. So what do you think needs to change for this
Okay.
Ravens team in order for us to be successful in this 2-game stint coming up?
Hey, man, I know the defense gave up 22 points, and you can say they could have lost the game. I thought they played pretty damn well considering they were on the field a lot. I think 84 plays is how many offensive plays the Colts had.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And we had Travis Jones banged up. Ojabo played 4 snaps. We had Tavius Robinson, a 4th or 5th round edge rusher
Yep.
out there, who honestly we had special teams players playing on defense and even on offense too. But I think our offense needs to get in that rhythm. We need to, kind of find our identity. We need to spread the ball out more. I know Zay Flowers is a first round pick, but we have got to, get Andrews involved, Bateman.
Yeah.
How Aguilar, I think Aguilar's earned himself more targets. I never thought I'd be saying that, but 4 for 4 yesterday, chain mover. But what you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely more receivers need to be involved. I think especially Rashad Bateman. I mean, we had made a prediction ourselves on this very show that Rashad Bateman was going to have a breakout game, but just didn't happen. Obviously, only one catch for 6 yards. Draw up something for him. If defenses have to respect a Rashad Bateman on top of a Zay Flowers, on top of a Mark Andrews, and I think Odell's going to be coming back this week, we're going to be back in business. I really do believe that. Now, the biggest issue to me is the pass rush. The Ravens cannot generate pressure at all unless they're sending a blitz. And we saw yesterday Kyle Hamilton. We haven't even mentioned his name yet on this episode. We're 34 minutes into this episode of the show. We have not even mentioned Kyle Hamilton, but Kyle Hamilton, he showed out. He showed out yesterday, man. I mean, 3 sacks, a couple like pass breakups, 8 tackles. He was going crazy. He was going crazy, man. And shout out to him, but it just seemed like that was the only way that we could get pressure on Gardner Minshew was by sending Kyle Hamilton, and that just cannot be the case. And I know we had guys like you said, Tavius Robinson, Jeremiah Moon played a lot of snaps yesterday. We need some more help at edge rusher. Just plain and simple. Bottom line up front, we need somebody. I don't know if it looks like bringing somebody in, or if just somebody has to come back. Adafe Owe, is hurt right now. Ojabo, just got banged up yesterday with an ankle, I think. So it's rough right now. But I think that's the biggest change that needs to be made. Like we have to find a way to generate pressure with a 4-man rush.
One of the biggest questions we were asked over the offseason is where is this weakness in this team? And it was between our backups behind Marlon Humphrey or our edge rush. And I believe me and you both said the edge rush. We're now 3 games in, and what is our biggest weakness? The edge rush.
Yeah.
Our top 2 guys are hurt. We have Jadeveon Clowney, who I thought has played pretty well. I'm not going to lie. He's played pretty damn well. I saw you say it on Twitter. We're sending Kyle Hamilton to get sacks. I'm looking at an 0-3 team right now, the Minnesota Vikings. We can play some cap gymnastics. What do y'all want for Danielle Hunter? I'm looking at these teams that are not good right now, and I'm looking at their edge rushing options because right now, I mean, anything helps us.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? You know what's interesting about you just saying that? Right before the season started, when there was a need that popped up, the Ravens seemed like they were just all in on addressing that need. Just to kind of be all in on this season, right? So when we got news that Marlon Humphrey wasn't going to start the season for us, immediately Ronald Darby, you know what I mean? Getting a Jadeveon Clowney when we knew we needed extra help at edge rusher. Now that we're down a couple of guys in a couple of games into the season, we still have that need for edge rusher. So will the Ravens keep that same energy of wanting to go all in on the 2023 season by going out and maybe getting a Danielle Hunter? Or I see a couple people bringing up some guys in the chat here. Jeremiah says JPP or Van Noy or something. Some help
we haven't heard
is
about
needed
Tyus
yet.
Bowser.
We
don't
have
know where
not.
he's at.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another I think about. I mean, there was that picture of all these guys that are hurt right now, and it's damn near a whole roster. You can field 22 of those guys, and it's a pretty damn good team.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I mean, we're talking like we're 0-3. We're 2-1. There's only one undefeated team in the AFC, Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
K-Dog says here, 2-1 after 3. In the beginning of the season, we would have all been happy, except for the fact we expected to lose against the Bengals. I know some people here didn't. I did. I would have had us 2-1 at this point, but looking at the way we lost against the Colts, it does hurt. But like I said, sky is not falling. If you think I'm going to give up on a game in week 3 with this team, that's not going to happen. I think this team, they'll make the playoffs. And I think if we win these next 2 games, that puts in a great position at week 5 to win the division, because you'll be 3-0 in the division, and every other game is at home against them. That you can win these next 2 games, and this game is forgotten about 1,000,000%.
Yeah. I mean, I agree there. And the good news is we're going to be having some guys coming back,
Yep.
So Marlon Humphrey, I'm not sure what his status is. We'll see throughout this week. We'll kind of monitor what he's looking like. He may make his season debut against the Browns. We'll see. Ronnie Stanley is another guy who I'm looking to see, news on him this week as well. He may be making his return. There was a couple of guys like Rashad Bateman. I don't think, his was any, him getting hurt was serious at all. He should be back next game. Odell is another one who I think should be back too. I'm not sure the status on Linderbaum just yet. I will continue to monitor him too, but we should be getting some guys back soon. So just like we're losing some guys, some guys should be coming back. So I think we'll be okay. Like you said, the sky is not falling. We really do have to, like you said, find our identity on offense. And I think that's going to take some time for sure. And we kind of acknowledged that back in week 1 when we beat the Texans, But
that's looking like a good win
that's
now,
mainly what needs to happen.
honestly. That's looking like a quality win when you look
It's
at what
aging really
yesterday.
well. Yeah.
And then I see Kate Hogg bringing up losing by 3 to the Colts in September. I saw something on Twitter like the Chiefs lost to the Colts last year, week 3. We lost to the Colts this year, week 3. I know they were in Indianapolis, but if that means what I think it means, like I said, we could forget about it, but we'll look back and we'll be like, damn, we should have won that game. And then if we we go 6-0 in the division and win our division, then it's like, okay, that sucks. But we won the division. Kings of the North again.
One of those, definitely a wake-up call kind of game for sure. Moral of the story, like we said, the sky is not falling. We are just getting started. Got to keep the faith. Got to keep the faith because I think the Ravens will be okay. They'll be okay.
Yeah. And
all right. Go ahead.
I said something too. I'd rather have us make these mistakes in September.
Yep.
Rather than January.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the other things that happened around the league yesterday. Tons of games on, tons of other things to talk about. Alex, what were some of the things that stood out to you yesterday?
I can tell you something that annoyed me yesterday and that stood out. It wasn't even football news. All right. I don't care about this certain singer and a certain tight end. With all due respect, I really don't care. like, bro, that's all it was. Like, oh, cool. She's at a game. That's awesome. Yeah. But if there was something, we'll talk about these upsets. You mentioned the Cowboys, upset by the Cardinals, Jags losing to the Texans, the Ravens, and the Colts. That I wasn't expecting that Cowboys one. I went here and said the Cowboys were the best team in the league last week, and now they lose to the Cardinals. I know they lost Trayvon Diggs, but that's an ugly loss.
This is a very ugly loss, and they just on offense they look kind of pedestrian when they're not getting a bunch of scoop and score turnover, and pick sixes and things like that. It's just it's not, they're not all the way there yet. A lot of teams, or not a lot of teams, but a lot of people were really putting a lot of stock into the Cowboys because of their first two games, but their defense was mainly carrying them in those games, and the offense just really has not looked like it really needs to look so far. There was a throw to CeeDee Lamb, I think with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, where he goes up and barely even tries to make a play on the ball, but is immediately, asking for a penalty from the ref. And it was just if I'm a Cowboys fan, that pisses me off. Just me personally. But yeah, embarrassing loss for the Cowboys for sure.
Now, if I'm a Broncos fan, okay, think about it. You can always have it worse.
Yeah.
You can always have it worse. The Broncos got 70 points put up on them. It's like when Big Bro plays Little Bro in Madden, and Big Bro lets Little Bro get a couple of touchdowns. But yeah, that was. I looked at my fantasy, and in one of my my leagues, I had Raheem Mostert, and I saw he had 4 touchdowns. That is insane. And then their other running back, he had 4 touchdowns too, and Tua threw for 4.
70 points is crazy in the NFL. That's a college score right there. It's just, I was shocked to see that. Honestly, I was a little bit jealous, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was actually very jealous to see that, the Dolphins were able to put up that many points and we were barely able to put up 20. But, another story for another day. But another game.
Without Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, exactly. Jalen Waddle not even playing. Another game that stood out to me, though, was the Commanders versus Bills. That was one I was definitely looking forward to, and I thought that it would be a lot more competitive than it was. But no, the Bills just blew the Commanders out of the water, and it kind of, if you're a Commanders fan, you kind of just feel like, okay, maybe this team just still isn't ready for the big boy competition yet.
Maybe the lights are too bright. I think the Bills kind of needed a wake up call, and that was it. They played a good game against the Raiders, but they needed to have that solid win, and they had it. Kind of like what I'm hoping the Ravens do next week. But I still think the Commanders are going to push for a wild card spot. So I don't think, like I said, sky's not falling for them, but I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders. But I think they can push for the playoffs.
Yeah. Then you had the Chargers finally getting a win over the Vikings, 28-24.
Mike Williams done for the season.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. Luckily, you got Keenan Allen, who's having a career season so far, just going absolutely nuts. I think he had over 200 yards receiving yesterday.
Yeah,
he's been going crazy.
Threw a touchdown.
Threw a touchdown too. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Okay. Why is Josh McDaniels a head coach? Why are you paying him all that money?
I think it's one of those things where it's like name value, like
Yeah,
being under Bill and like kind of being that Bill's disciples kind of get the benefit of the doubt, so
yeah.
that's what it is with him, I think.
Matt Patricia didn't work out too good.
No.
Josh McDaniels with the Broncos didn't work out too good. So the Raiders, being the fantastic organization they are, like, okay, we can fix them. No, you can't. No, you can't. Um, Devontae Adams is a name I'm looking at, not for the Ravens, but I think this is his last season there. Either he gets traded midseason, which I doubt it, because not a lot of receivers get traded midseason, but I think this is last year with the Raiders.
Yeah.
He's too good to
Should
be on a
be.
losing team.
Let's see. We got some questions here from the live chat. Raven Ron saying, "Hey PRP, why isn't the Broncos defensive staff getting chased around with a leather belt by the owner this morning?" Yeah, getting 70 dropped on you is crazy. We just talked about it. Just can't let that happen. Can't let that happen. That first touchdown to Tyreek Hill though.
Why? How do you leave that open?
He I really don't know what to say about Tyreek Hill at this point, man. I mean, I think that he is the number one, the best receiver in the world. I mean, when you can just catch the ball on a slant, like a 10, 15-yard slant, and then just kind of do the rest of the work yourself, that is a dream for a quarterback. Like you barely even have to, like Tua is blessed to be able to, to be able to play with a Tyreek Hill and just wow. It was really unfair the days he was in Kansas City. I'll just say that for sure.
Yeah. I owe to an apology as well. He is a good quarterback. I'm not gonna lie. I just hope
Yeah.
he stays healthy. As a neutral, I really hope he stays healthy. His brother looks pretty damn good for Maryland too. Maryland is 4-0 in college football.
Oh yeah, you
Told
watched
you.
him play. Yeah.
I've been watching college football. I was watching this weekend. It was a pretty good games, but yeah, I mean the Dolphins are scary, and they're only gonna get better because Jalen Ramsey still has to come back. One of the top corners in the league. They're only gonna get better. So the AFC could run through Miami this year. Not saying it will, but it could.
We'll see. We'll see. Go ahead and drop your questions down below in the chat. We'd appreciate it. Max here says, no one likes to hear it, but is it time to worry about Lamar? 2 fumbles again, then taking that sack is brutal.
That sack, man. That's when the quarterback coach has to, sit Lamar down and talk to him. T. Martin, former quarterback, I believe. Yeah. That's where the coach has to come in and, talk to him about that. The fumbles, yeah, definitely an issue, but that has to be fixed. Big time.
Yeah. Definitely, I do think that ball security could be better for Lamar Jackson. I do believe that. But I don't think that is necessarily an issue. I do believe that a lot of, the mishaps yesterday had to do with the rain and the ball being wet. Which is why I hate rain games, to be honest with you, man. I honestly think that all teams should have a dome. It's just like if we want to put the best product on TV week in and week out, like do not let anything else affect the outcome of the game. Like it that's just me. That's just me.
Snow games are
Uh,
undefeated, though. I'm not gonna lie. I
I
love me a
mean,
good snow game.
sure, but I
The
mean,
aesthetic.
but when you can't, but when you really can't run your offense because it's snowing, like
Yeah.
that's annoying. That's irritating. And I
This
I
makes
get it.
football
Maybe
like
sure,
football.
more natural, more barbaric, more sure. I get it, but
I get what you're
I'm more
saying though, because
concerned
think
about who's the
what
better
other
team.
sport what other sport plays in that?
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, soccer, yes, but you don't really change your tactics with soccer because you might slip. That's really about it. But with like NFL football, like you're throwing the ball, it's slippery. You're not so
like you got to throw the ball, you got to catch the ball, you got to hold on to the ball. The ball
right.
has to be
You're
kicked.
running with the
Like there's
ball.
just right. It's just so much
Yeah,
going on in a football game. Like if there's elements going on, if there's rain, there's snow, there's excessive
sleep.
wind, like
Yeah,
sleet,
wind.
it's gonna impact the game. And you might not get the best product that you would have gotten if had it been played in a dome stadium. But that's just me. That's just me.
No, you're entitled to your opinion. I mean, you make a good point though. like imagine we see just the best type of football being played in controlled environment. Interesting.
Yeah. And then I mean him taking the sack, it was brutal. I will say that, but hey, you kind of got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Lamar Jackson, because I think it was the play right before that where, he also should have been sacked, but he scrambles out of it on third down and runs for a first down. So kind of got to take the good with the bad there. Yes, he should have thrown that away a little bit earlier. But again, it just goes to show this was an overall team loss. Like I said, I think I said it to start off this episode. We just got outplayed from the coach to the kicker to the quarterback, like all the way around, like all the way around.
Matt Gay. Matt
Matt
Gay
Gay,
was in his
yeah,
bag. Yeah.
had himself a day for sure.
Yeah. 28 points
Okay,
fantasy. I had him in one of my leagues.
yeah. We'll take a couple more questions from you guys here. Let's see. Black Daniel says, "Hear me out. Even with new additions to the roster, Lamar still has to play hero ball, which, with risks comes mistakes. I don't think Lamar fully trusts the supporting cast, most of which is hurt. I'm just saying."
Yeah, I mean, no preseason as well. I remember we talked about there was going to be a ramp up period.
Yeah.
We're 3 games in now. Obviously, the weather wasn't what we wanted it to be, but now we're moving on. We got Cleveland next week. Tough defense. Jim Schwartz has them guys balling out. They gave up 3 points yesterday to the Titans.
Yeah.
Not saying the Titans are a good team by any means, but they did beat the Chargers the week before. So any given Sunday, but we cannot, take the Browns lightly. They're 2-1. You win this, you go top of the division. Yeah. So I hope this is a week it clicks. I don't want to be saying this every week, but I hope it's this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. And, you bring up a very interesting point about the ramp up period. I mean, first quarter of the season, so first 4 to 5 weeks of the season, that's what that is, especially since, like you said, these guys aren't playing in preseason. So we should have expected this. A lot of us maybe expected it last week in the Bills game, not Bills game, but the Bengals game. But it ended up happening more so in this Colts game, where you saw that the offense just really isn't all the way there yet. They're still kind of going through some growing pains, getting used to playing with each other, being coached underneath the Todd Monken offense. But the silver lining is that it seems like the relationship between Lamar Jackson and Todd Monken is a strong one. And I think that that's going to be important, especially moving forward down the season. I mean, it's only week 3. It's only week 3.
Yeah.
And we got to get all the way to week 18 before we go to the playoffs, right? So it's just there's so much more that has to transpire. And I think that this offense is still on an upward trajectory, because let me also say this. I think that a lot of people, we can talk about blame and who we want to put the blame on for yesterday's game, but Lamar Jackson is somebody who's shouldering a lot of that blame, because of the ball security issues and things like that. But if you think about it like this, if Justin Tucker hits that kick at the end of the game and the Ravens end up winning, right now we're talking about, is Lamar Jackson an MVP candidate? Because he won that game with his legs, 2 touchdowns with his legs, over 100 yards rushing. So, and we just saw him win the game with his arm last week. So if we would have won that game, it would have been like, oh, he can win the game with his arm, he can win it with his legs. Is he an MVP? That's what we would be talking about. So, I still think that this offense, especially when they get some pieces back, along that offensive line, the receiving core as well, once those guys get gelled a little bit more, I think it's going to be fireworks. I still really do believe in that. We just kind of have to give it time and just trust the process.
One thing, I'm glad you brought it up. One thing that I really hate about not just sports media, but media in general, is they will focus on any negative they possibly can. And that's kind of the reason why I don't watch it, because it kind of just will put you in a bad space. When the Ravens beat the Bengals last week, did they talk about us at all?
Nope.
When the Ravens lose this week, did they talk about us?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. I see Shannon Sharp out here, who sits here and is saying that the offense is the same as it was with Greg Roman, which is a complete and utter lie. I don't know what you've been watching. Worry about the team that you played with most of your career that's got 70 points dropped on them and talk about them. This is a completely different offense. I don't know how you're saying it's the same as Greg Roman. And it feels like, I know Lamar is the quarterback and the quarterback always gets the blame, but it's just unnecessary blame on him. They're saying it's not going to be 75 and sunny every game. We know that. we've seen us play in crazy conditions and we've won. That, like I said, that's the main reason I don't like to watch a lot of these shows because they only focus on negatives. When we beat the Bengals last week, there was not one peep heard about us at all, and that's why like it's a big thing now. Not to go on a tangent is why like YouTubers and podcasters get a lot more, viewers because they'll talk about the good and the bad, not just the bad. So
Yeah.
don't pay attention to a lot of those like talking media heads because it's just like it's kind of nasty agendas. Honestly, I hate to say that, but it really is. Like if you think this offense is the same as last year, you lost all credibility for what you're talking about right there because it is completely different. They may show similar things, but if you're going to expect an offense that we ran last year and this one to be completely different, no, there's going to be some similarities, but it is different offense. So had to get that out there as well.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right there. Yolanda bringing up here, I think the O-line needs to step up too. Yeah, I mean the O-line definitely had its troubles yesterday, especially defending the blitz. Really didn't seem like we were handling that too well at all yesterday. And that's kind of how you lose football games. I mean, two big things we lost in the trenches, and then also we had those turnovers in the second quarter, which really kind of shot us in the foot, like you said earlier. So those were kind of like the two main factors in us losing. I do think that once Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley get back, I think that this offensive line will be a little bit better. But also Kevin Zeitler had himself a tough game too. A lot, had a couple pressures that he allowed. Hopefully he can come back around and be that guy who we really do know him to be at that right guard spot. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that's really it. I mean, I'm gonna be honestly keep my eyes on this Gus Edwards stuff. If he's
yeah.
Maybe if he can't go this week, kind of going to scout out what running backs are out there, maybe sign him to the practice squad because if he can't go, that does not bode well for us.
No.
That means Lamar's going to have even more on his shoulders. Hopefully Justice Hill will be back soon, but hey man, we're this Gus Edwards concussion away from calling Mark Ingram as him. What it'll take for him to get out of the Fox College Football pregame show to be a Raven again.
Don't say that.
Not him exactly, but that's kind of the position we might be in. Hopefully it's not bad. Keeman, he can't come back until after week 4. After this week. It's the IR.
So he could debut against the Steelers.
Wouldn't that be a game? Your dad was a Raven, and your first game as a Raven is our biggest rivalry in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I like that.
Maybe a story there. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, honestly, we got to do anything that we can do at the running back position right now. I mean, because it's not really looking like we don't have a whole lot there. We just don't. Compared to what we started out with, of course, now we're missing J.K. Dobbins. He's out for the season. Gus Edwards, concussion protocol. We don't know how long that's going to hold him out. Justice Hill, turf toe. It's just guy getting hurt after guy getting hurt after guy getting hurt. And let's end it with this. I see a lot of people kind of talking about the strength and conditioning coaches and the training staff there, and that's the reason why the Ravens are accumulating all these guys getting hurt. But what's your take on that, Alex? Because me personally, I don't think that I don't think it has to do with the the training staff, the strength and conditioning coaches, things like that. I think it more so has to do with just like freak accidents, and I think John Harbaugh talked about it today at the press conference. He said, guys are getting rolled up on, these things kind of do just happen. So I just wanted to get your take on all of these I words that have been happening recently and kind of where we can point the finger to that.
As much as I think people want to just kind of have somewhere or something they can put a blame on, and I'm right there behind you. It's not like these are happening before the season. Like if it was happening in training camp, mini camp, OTAs, then yes, I completely agree. It could be the whole strength and conditioning coach. It's happening in the game. Look at the way Linderbaum and Stanley, they got rolled up on. Even the game, the Saints and Panthers game last week, the lineman, I think it was Trevor Penning, threw down one of the players and it landed on his own teammate's leg, tore something, he's out for the season. It's just bad luck. Football is a physical game. It just sucks because you look at it, it's like, okay, well, why didn't the Colts have anybody go out yesterday? I don't know. But why did Ojabo play 4 snaps and he was out for the game? It's just, that's the game. It sucks. I wish we knew what it was and we could blame it, but we don't. So that's just football, unfortunately.
Yeah, literally that's what it is right there. That is just football. Okay. K-Dog says here, Rain Gang, please smash that damn like button. 50 or the kids don't eat, and it's after sundown.
Yes. Happy Yom Kippur to those who celebrate as well. Indeed. Yes. Yeah, 50 likes. Get it.
Please. Okay. So I think we're going to go ahead and leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 195. We wish it could be a victory Monday, but it's not, unfortunately. Ravens sit at 2-1, looking ahead to the Browns and Steelers. So you guys know we will be having the preview episode for the Browns matchup. That's going to be coming out on Thursday. So make sure you stay locked in, tuned in, whatever you want to call it for that one. So subscribe to the channel as well if you are new, because a lot more Ravens content where this is coming from. Again, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, like you see down below. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram, or I guess they call it X now. God damn it. At Sutton Def, just like you see right there. And then on Twitter, X, simply as 10. Instagram as simply as 10.prod. And then, of course, on TikTok. He's been posting TikToks a lot more recently. I've been seeing them. Ooh. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys follow Simply as 10 on TikTok at simply as 10.
Thank you.
And last but not least, like we led the episode with, our sponsor, Manscaped. If you want to go on Manscaped, get yourself any one of their wonderful products. You can go on their checkout and save yourself 20% off using our code PRP. You also get free international shipping too. So, that's just on us. Yeah. A little thing we're going to throw in there for you. Okay. But again, thank you guys for coming out to this episode. Another shout out to the hashtag replay gang. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for everyone coming through episode 195 of the Purple Rain podcast. Actually ending at a perfect time because there's football in 7 minutes. The doubleheader, Monday Night Football, is back, which I hate, but go and watch that if you want to.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan either.
Neither am I. It feels forced.
Yeah.
But thank you all for coming through. We truly appreciate you. And as always, stay positive. Testing.
And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This has been episode 195 of the Purple Rain podcast. We're going to catch you